gassed up. You know the name. Say it loud. O-T-W. Let's go. Came from the static, flame in the tone, crashing through the signal, now they all feeling blown. This ain't no stream, it's a throne on loan. An OTW in the zone alone. No cap, no script, no safe format, just facts, just wrath, yeah they swing like that. Every word hit heavy like a baseball bat, while the rest sounds sweet like a TikTok brat. I ain't here for the clout, I'm here for the war. OTW kicking down every front door. No breaks, no breaks, this broadcast raw. Make the net look small like an iPhone 4. OTW, we breaking through. Static in the sky, got the whole world glued. This, that heat you can't undo. Speakers might crack when we pass through. OTW, you feel that boom. Sound so live, it'll shake the room. Don't blink, don't test, make space, make room. Cause the wave too loud, it'll seal your doom. Slick till the feed goes live, then they freeze on cam while the kings survive. OTW, don't blink, don't fake, don't jive. They the pulse in the storm, the reason you dive. I seen the clones try to ride that name, but the soul ain't there, just hype and shame. Every bar, every flame, every claim they tame, while OTW wild like untamed flames. So salute the cast, respect the sound. They orbit the top, never touching the ground. You tuned in now, better write that down, cause OTW don't play with clowns. OTW, we breaking through. Can't cage the fire when the code that true. No fake vibes, no trying to woo. We burn the mic just to light your view. OTW, ain't nothing new. Been next level since the debut. One shot, one stream, whole world in queue. This broadcast hit like a sonic boom. Cut the feed if you can't stand flame. OTW ain't part of your game. They speak what the rest too scared to name, and they rise from the ash like it's not even strange. OTW, say it true. Broadcast kings, ain't nothing to prove. They don't chase likes, they just break rules. While your faves fold up like cheap ass tools. OTW, this ain't no fluke. They build what others try to reboot. From the ground to the stars, yeah the voice is brute. One truth, one name, OTW salute. They don't know, but they gon' learn. OTW stay live every damn turn. Yeah, this ain't normal. This ain't from round here. This right here, out of this world, let's go. Yo, this ain't a stream, this a cosmic event. Every word hit hard, every frame leave dents. They talk views, we talk impact and intent. Whole feed on fire when the signal gets sent. This that loud, that pure, that uncut flame. Other shows act wild, but they all sound tame. We break mics, bend time, shake whole lanes. While they chase clout, we engrave names. Yeah, we flying past clouds with the realest appeal. You watching greatness, this ain't no real. This that truth they scared to feel. This that out of this world, not your regular deal. Out of this world, we don't play fair. Talk too slick, get dropped mid-air. Too real, too raw, too rare. This broadcast burned through the solar glare. Out of this world, they can't compare. Whole net shook when the feed declare. If you ain't tuned in, better stay aware, cause we taking over everywhere. They ain't built for this pressure, this height, this zone. They throw stones, we drop comments through phones. You want real, you know where it's shown. Not earthborn, but we taking the throne. This for the ones who don't flinch at the truth, who vibe with the heat, not the flash or spoof. Every shot cut deep like a cosmic tooth. While they tweet fake beef, we ignite the booth. Ain't no blueprint for the way you rise. Ain't no cap in these satellite eyes. You feel that? That's the skies collide. Cause out of this world, don't apologize. Out of this world, whole scene disrupt. Every clip like a lift off, straight corrupt. No edits, no fluff, just full grown cuts. While they glitch in fear, we erupt. Out of this world, ain't no disguise. You can't fake light, that flood the skies. We bring truth while the weak improvise. This is legacy, recognize. A signal in the dark, too bright to ignore. This ain't broadcast, this is war. Not local, not known, beyond every zone, and still got the throne. Out of this world, let the cosmos hear. Let them know that the kings are here. This ain't hype, this is crystal clear. We above all ranks, all stats, all fear. Out of this world, the final form. When the weak fold up, we transform. So when they ask who broke the norm, tell them loud, out of this world, born. Beyond the script, beyond the screen, this is more than a show. It's a whole new being. They sell you silence in a platinum case. Smile in your face while they tighten the brace. Pump fake news with a holy grace. Then cash your fear at a government place. They program minds with a sterilized stream. Push pills, fake thrills, pixelated dream. You scroll, you vote, you scream, unseen. You were born to fight, not to serve machines. Burn the feed. Let the towers fall. Tear down lies from the padded hall. No more chains, no more crawl. We break the script, we scorch it all. Burn the feed, yeah, let it bleed. This ain't peace, it's a raw stampede. No more sleep, no more plead. We are the fire, we are the need. Your voice ain't yours when the wires own it. Truth gets choked while the suits condone it. They preach change, then clone opponents. Keep you numb with the screen and a bonus. This is for the rebels that bite when muzzled. The sparks in the dark where the signals huddle. We don't clap back, we flip the puzzle and light the fuse in their empire's tunnel. Burn the feed, crash the code, break their laws that choke the globe. No more brands, no more mold. We bring heat, they can't control. Burn the feed, let the truth stampede. Crack the screen, make the virus breed. No more pause, no more plead. Rage is the language that freedom reads. They built this world on a quiet lie. Stack bricks of fear in a suit and tie. But the system's cracked, the wires hung, and the flames don't stop till the truth has come. We ain't calm, we ain't tame. We spit justice through the flame. Burn the feed, let the tyrant shake. Every lie's a throne we break. No more peace for power's sake. We are the storm they can't remake. Burn the feed, this is the creed. Not for the rich, for the ones they bleed. Not for the kings or the fraud elite. This is the end of their machine.
Rise up, hear the call to battle, it's time to stand tall. No time for sleep, no room for fall. Every moment counts, don't stall. Gather your gear, sharpen your blade. The enemy's at the gate, we fight for our land, for our faith. Let's rise up, let's take the heat. The dawn breaks, the drums beat. The signal to retreat means die. We won't back down, we won't hide. We face the fire with pride. Yo, Wake up, it's war, we ain't playing no games. Every step forward, every move we claim. This isn't a test, this isn't a game. We'll fight till the end, we won't let this slip away. The night is dark, the stars are few, but our hearts burn true. Through the storm, through the doom, we'll keep moving through. No more talk, no more lies, we're here to fight and thrive. Together we stand, together we strive, no matter what comes our way. Yo, wake up, it's war, we ain't playing no games. Every step forward, every move we claim. This isn't a test, this isn't a game. We fight till the end, we won't let this slip away. Yo, wake up, it's war, we ain't playing no games. Every step forward, every move we claim. This isn't a test, this isn't a game. We fight till the end, we won't let this slip away.
Turn off the screen. Step outside. You feel that? That ain't change. That's control. They tax your breath while they fly in fleets, pushing panic in ads while they dance in suites. They save the world with elite receipts, then toast on yachts with blood on seats. You recycle dreams while they burn whole towns. You turn off lights, they torch the grounds. Every pledge is a leash that keeps you down, while they sell fresh air by the ounce downtown. Green light, it's all a game, covering greed with a climate name. They sell guilt while they shift the blame. Now we pay the price for their flame. Green light, don't buy the fear. They ain't cleaning, just shifting gears. While the smokestack rise and the sky ain't clear, they just hide the truth in a green veneer. They plant one tree, then burn 10 more. Spray skies at night, but you beg for war. They say carbon's bad while they pave the shore and raise gas costs so the poor stay poor. You sip paper straws, they drill new wells. You walk to work while they build more shells. They ban your voice when the numbers swell and call it settled from a golden cell. You loud a fifth lie, it's a mask, a scheme. They sell self-elevation in a branded dream, while the oceans boil and the deserts scream. They count green bills in a smoke machine. Green light, this ain't reform, this is profit dressed in a storm. They don't care if the ice cap's warm, long as fear keeps the sheep informed. You ever wonder why the truth don't trend, why the facts get bent, till your will just bends? You ever ask, who makes the rules? It ain't about saving, it's about tools. To herd, to brand, to tax, to ban. They play God with a carbon plan. Green lies, we see the scheme. You can't hide truth behind a screen. We breathe the fight, not the dream. You can't cage the earth with a climate meme. Green lies, games exposed. All your charts, the suits decompose. You want control, we chose revolt, and we coming in hot. Let the system implode. You want the planet? Start by burning the script.
In the beginning,
I gave you law, not slogans, not spin. You built towers, not temples, war rooms, not wisdom. And still, you pray to me with blood on your hands. Thunder rumbles drop. Y'all built thrones on commandments you can't even quote. Preach peace on a budget that funds the next boat. Golden calves wear ties now, pockets bloated, and truth's just a token till the news feed's loaded. Sanctified missiles with a cross on the nose. Say God bless the troops while the body count grows. Prophets turn pundits selling fire and fear. I gave you the light and you shadowed it clear. This is what I wrote, this is what you chose. Signed the scroll, gave the code, now it's sold in shows. Said thou shalt not kill, y'all turn that to prose. Claim divine favor while you stepped on the throws. God don't vote, I just watch the polls. You praise my name, then sell your souls. You legislate hate, then baptize the bill. Quote me in courtrooms while you silence free will. Tax breaks for saints with offshore grace, but I saw that tithe and it came in place. Love thy neighbor lest they cross that line. Then it's walls and guns in the name of divine. You got pulpits and prophets confused again. Turn sermons to slogans, truth to trend. You know the laws now, act like it. It ain't complicated, just inconvenient. I wrote them in stone, not in loopholes. Don't worship me on Sundays, then vote for control. You wrote, this is what I chose. You cast your ballots, I cast my blows. Don't ask for blessings in bloodstained clothes. When the mirror reflects what your empire sows. God don't vote, but I still see every lie wrapped in piety. Every lie wrapped in piety.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Out of This World Live. I'm your host, Patrick, a.k.a. OTW. We got some new soundtracks and new intros and outros. We got it all. All right. We are evolving. We are getting better, stronger, louder. We're reaching more people. This is becoming an epic and awesome broadcast. We will go down in history, y'all. And you are the chatters who are here to see it all happen. All right. Shout out to the chat. Welcome, everybody. We got Charles Darwin in the house. Channel member, by the way. We also have I Want Tea. She says OTW in chat with the high five and the big heart. And she goes, hello. And I say, you tell me. Says, let's go. And he's in chat right now. We got Carpenter's Journey is in chat. We also have Crystal Consciousness. Welcome to the show. Rock E. Shepherd clapping all the way. Salted Cedar also waving. We got, who else is in chat? We got G says, let's go. Crystal Shaman, what's up? TA with 72 channel member is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, if you want to become a member, it's not too expensive, $3.99, and you have access to members only videos. Also, the beautiful and awesome creative emojis that I make for y'all. All right, and that's about it. That's it for the chat. We had 18, but now 15 people watching. Go ahead and hit the like button. Share this out. We will be reviewing today the Global Summit something, whatever. Hold on a second. It was like, yeah, the Global Citizens Now Action Summit, right? So it's like, oh, there we go. They're pushing that totalitarian thing. And I said, oh, yeah, we got to go ahead and review that. And I was supposed to go live with this yesterday, but life happens sometimes. So you're not necessarily able to broadcast when life happens. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. So just give me a moment. And by the way, how do you guys like the new songs? You know? Yeah. I've been tweaking around with this new AI thing, and it's pretty good. Obviously, I'm not the one singing, but practically created the whole song from scratch using the tools, man. It's pretty, like, it was actually freaking fun, you know? Musically speaking, pretty hard to compete with that stuff, guys. I don't know where this is going, but it's going to be tough as a musician, singer, entertainer to compete with that level of production, right? Because it sounds fucking good. Like, from, you know, when I'm listening to it, the production value is like out of this world. So, and they were more than acceptable. Yeah, I know. It was they could almost be considered hits, man. So I was thinking I'm going to create a whole AI album of OTW inspired songs, and it'll all be truth songs. You know, like, yeah, I don't know if you noticed the theme is like climate change and politics and religion, and you know, I had like a bunch of them. I had like 3 or 4 of those. So I was like thinking of doing like a AI album of 12 songs, including these ones, the ones that you heard here in the intro. It might be fun, you know. I mean, what the hell? It's there. Why not use it, right? And I'm creating some fucking really good songs. I was like, wow, man. If only I had musicians that were that good back in the day. Holy crap. That would have been freaking awesome. And a great singer. And I would have been great. I would have, you know, just play guitar and do back vocals. All right. So, oh, Jesus is here. Nice. Someone tell the others. Crystal Shaman says she loves the tunes. Cool. A wild OTW involved into what the fuck? A wild OTW prayed and involved into a Powell Ida. Okay, I wasn't sure if I understood the first comment. But anyway, they were more than acceptable. Okay, all right. Well, we're still in the song thing. So, actually, yeah, let me get back to the summit. Not to detract too far away from the topic. So just give me a moment here and I'll set up the video. Didn't do it beforehand. I was actually busy listening to the songs. All right, so wait a minute. Where is this thing? Okay. Interesting. Okay, I think I got something here. Yeah. Okay, let me share screen. Bear with me. I got this. So, hold on a sec. Hold on. Pause. Don't freaking panic. There it is. All right, so let me just switch up my screen and let's watch this.
Smitten with the passion that he said that day in the living room. And I walked out of that room and I have never felt the same after listening to
So this is the world leaders, okay, it says, well, the title of it is that world leaders participate in day one of Global Citizens Now Summit. This kicked off, I believe, was it today or last Thursday? I'm not sure. I can't even freaking remember. Hold on a second. Let me look when this was posted. Yeah, nah. No, that can't be right. So this was last year? No. Oh, what the hell?
the facts and the figures, and his enthusiasm was infectious. So I think it's important that we start with you, Hugh Evans, because you brought some very powerful people together for this event. So what makes Global Citizen Now different?
Well, firstly, I want to thank you, Gail, for hosting today. And I also, let's give Gail a round of applause. She's absolutely wonderful. And I want to thank all of you for being with us. The time that you're giving to be part of this makes the absolute world of difference. So Global Citizen Now is about driving decisive action to tackle the world's greatest challenges. And I think there's a couple things that make the next few days different to anything out there. Firstly, I think that if you think about, other summits that happen on the planet, like let's call it Davos, the World Economic Forum, or the GEA, General Assembly, they're always behind closed doors and citizens are excluded. This is the complete opposite. This is an opportunity for citizens to interact with world leaders, with business leaders, with incredible artists, so that all of us can come together to create lasting change. It's about actually the power of citizens to take action. That is different to anything out there. That's why this is being streamed all over the world. I think secondly, it's about action. So what we've decided to drive is targeted actions. For those of you, when you came in through the door today and you gave your cell phone number, you will receive text messages throughout the entire 2 days of specific actions you can take. Because often if I go to a summit, I might hear an inspiring speaker, but then a few weeks later I might have forgotten about it, and then a month later it's a distant memory. Because we're going to be driving lasting action, we're kicking off campaigns over the next 2 days that will have a profound impact. And then finally, and most importantly, it's about mission. And the reason why it's about mission is that you're going to hear a lot about climate change over the next few days, and people might say, well,
oh my
climate
God,
change got to do with Global Citizen's mission to end extreme poverty now? Well, absolutely everything, because these are two sides of the same coin called sustainable development. And the only way that we're going to address the current deadlock in climate negotiations that's taking place right now, the reason why the last COP didn't succeed and the next COP won't be a guaranteed success unless we take action, is because there's a $16 billion funding gap that the world's wealthiest nations promised to the poorest nations, but they haven't delivered on. Yes. That creates a trust deficit. If you don't have trust, you don't make progress. And so over the next 2 days, we have the right people in the room with the most extraordinary heads of state, business leaders, artist leaders, foundation leaders, who can all come together with a movement of global citizens to create lasting change. And that's what's going to make the next 2 days last.
Yeah, and I know how much action means to you, Hugh. Even going to those great concerts, and we've all been, the lineup is always extraordinary. It's always people you want to see. Harry Styles, I love me some Harry, has been a Global Citizen. Beyonce, you name the names, they've all been there. But even to go to the concert, Hugh, you always make it clear you have to do something. You can't just say, oh, I love so-and-so, I want to go. You've got to do something to gain entry into the room. Madam President, you are a co-chair along with Hugh. We heard him talk about action. We heard him talk about accountability. What can you do to make sure that there is accountability? Because anybody can say, I want to donate, I want to do, but how do we hold people accountable? What's the best way to do that? Accountability and delivery.
Accountability and delivery, I think, to deliver on what you have promised, I think this is the hallmark of democracies. Because democracies live and thrive on trust. That people trust that the
bullshit that you say is true.
The actions that are promised are really delivered. And therefore, I think it is so important. That's also the difference between democracy and autocracy. Because we are accountable, thanks God, to a free press, to Global Citizen, to a vibrant civil society. and of course through the checks and balances that are out there in the political field. And that's what I am so amazed about what Global Citizen is concerned, because we met at the beginning of the pandemic. And you came and you said, let's rally the world
What
and
a
let's
coincidence.
organize a pledging for vaccines to fight the pandemic. And it was at that time 16 billion that we raised in one evening. But what was important, Global Citizens then tracked each and every single dollar and euro that they were not only pledged at that evening, but that they were really paid into the system and that they were delivered.
You know what?
The second time that we've been working
I'm already appalled, Crystal. I can't even believe what I'm hearing. But hey, it just might trigger me to the point where, I'll fucking go off on a spurg. I mean, I'm already, I'm starting to get triggered already, Let's keep watching it. I'm gonna, who knows? I might lose my mind.
On Ukraine, Russia's horrible war in Ukraine. And it was you who said, let's again rally the world and raise money for the Ukrainian refugees. And it were 8 billion euros that you raised for Ukrainian refugees.
That's a lot of money.
And here I was so amazed because you could just feel that people understood that the Ukrainians are not only fighting
I'm not
for
Pope.
their
I'm the politician
integrity
today.
Of their territory and their sovereignty, but that they are fighting for all of us what the respect for the international law is concerned, what the respect for the UN Charter is concerned. And therefore it is so important that we all support Ukraine for as long as it takes. And again, accountability and delivery to deliver on the subjects that you have pledged on or where you have promised things. This is the essence of democracy. And to fight for democracy, this is the most noble task that we can fulfill.
It's a thing.
What did she say?
That we can, since of have pledged on or where you have promised things, this is the essence of democracy. And to fight for democracy, this is the most noble task that we can fulfill.
It's a thing. You were really from the school, if you don't ask, you don't get. And you have never, ever shied away from asking. Both of you, the Hugh squared. I can say that about the both of you. Sabrina, the motto is where
You mean the
I
Hugh
live,
skewed,
become
not
impact.
squared.
And I know you've worked really closely with Global Citizen campaigns connected to food and hunger and the climate crisis. We're not all just sitting up here looking pretty. We really want to make a difference. And we know that these conversations and these panels, and you get this message out, makes a difference. So what have you seen since you started working with Global Citizen? I think finally, especially when it comes to climate, back in the day, people's eyes would glaze over. And then the more examples you give and the more educated you become, you realize, Houston, we have a problem.
I think that's absolutely right. I think we aren't just here, just on a soapbox lending a nice outfit like Gail's, because Gail,
No,
you
go
do
ahead
look
and say
nice.
looking pretty. Go ahead.
I'll take it. But what I've learned through the years with Global Citizen, and actually I met Global Citizen doing a field visit, I don't know if you remember who Mick was there, with the International Fund for Agricultural Development, who I'm now UN Goodwill Ambassador for and proudly for, and they were in the trenches doing the work. And it took me a moment to realize, because in my mind at that time, Sierra Leone had just come out of the Ebola pandemic, which is where we were. Global Citizen, NIGHTBOT were there picking up the pieces, not knowing, ironically, we were about to go into a global pandemic. If somebody had told me that back then, I don't know what I would have thought, but it's so much more than what happens when you're in those field visits. It's the follow-up.
I am so about to fucking go off.
Not shy to ask. None of the Global Citizen team are. But it really is that accountability to leaders, to summits that we go to the panels that we are having. What is the follow-up behind those panels? And I've seen, and I'm so thankful to say have been a part of firsthand some of those commitments that have been made, and there's been a few along the way and some really important ones and some I'm really proud of. Canada, my own home country, stepped up when the pandemic was happening.
Oh,
to
no,
help support a
she's
rural
not from
stimulus
Canada.
facility when countries were suffering at the most, because let's be honest, like Gail said, people roll their eyes when we're talking about climate, but climate is it's so much bigger than something that's happening when we get to one degree or whatever people talk about. It's happening to rural people now. People are waking up, not knowing what the weather is going to be tomorrow, having failed crops. I mean, these are real life disasters, real life situations that are on the doorsteps of so many.
But that's
And it's picking up the pieces
nature.
and finding solutions in real time that
It's
help
like
people
trying
that are
to
going through
predict
these
how
issues in real
nature is chaotic. Nature is like, that doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. It's like as if, we need to control nature. We need to control how nature reacts to how we're freaking, taking over the planet. It's like, I don't understand. These guys are really confusing me. It's making me angry when I'm confused. It's not good.
real time. Climate has exactly everything to do with gender. I mean,
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me now.
The rural populations that we are supporting. Climate has to do.
Did she
so much with
fucking
education,
say
how
that?
much sending your the rural exactly everything to do with gender. I mean,
What?
women make up these issues, picking up the pieces and finding solutions in real time that help people that are going through these issues in real time. Climate has exactly everything to do with gender. I mean,
I
women
don't
make up
believe
the
I
majority
just
of the
fucking heard that.
markets. They're a majority of the has exactly everything to do with gender. People that are going through these issues in real time. Climate has exactly everything to do with gender. I mean, women make up the majority of the informal markets. They're a majority of the rural
I am
populations that we are
fucking
supporting.
blown the fuck
Climate
away.
Has to do so much with education. How are you sending your children to school if you're
I
worried
don't
about what
believe
you're
she
going to
just
eat
said
tomorrow?
that.
It's so much a bigger conversation than I initially thought. And it's easy to roll our eyes because it seems like something that's coming 10, 15 years down the
Yeah.
road.
Yeah.
But the
It's so easy to roll my eyes that I can actually roll them all the way to the back of my fucking head. That's how easy I can roll my eyes to what you're saying. So climate change has everything to do with gender. Holy shit. Can somebody make that clear to me? Because I really don't see how you can connect those two things together. I don't see the association at all. Oh my God. Are you serious? Oh my God. That would be so fucking insane. More than insane. That is lunacy. It's absolute fucking delusion. Okay, so this is absolutely freaking crazy. This is insane crazy. Insane crazy. I'm speechless. She got me. She got me. I never thought that while I was listening to this, I'd hear something so fucking ridiculous.
work that we do now helps support the people who have been forgotten along the way. And those are people in rural communities who are suffering through climate change today, not tomorrow. So I'm so thankful for the work that we've done together.
Okay, so these gender people are the only ones suffering through climate change. Whoo-hoo. Wow. Someone's going to have to explain the logic behind that one, because I don't find any. Nothing. There's no rational explanation for what the fuck she's talking about.
Together and the commitments that we've made, and it really is, it's a blessing to be a part of, but the work is important.
Talking about rolling your fucking eyes.
In the follow-up, and the follow-up is something I think that you've done a really good job highlighting.
Yes, I mean, Serena, if you don't have the planet, what do you have? You know, and I think
Exactly.
people really need to understand how dire this is.
Oh my
You have
God! If
something-
you
have
don't
just a little
have the
time in
planet, what do you have? What is that? Some billionaire said something. One billionaire out there, one of the richest men in the world, said, "If I don't have the planet, what do I have? What do I have? I need to have the planet. That's what I need, because then I'll have it all." The only thing after that would be like having the moon, or having maybe Mars or Jupiter, having maybe fucking Saturn, and hey, what the hell? The whole fucking galaxy while we're at it. Go out and fucking invade and explore other strange new worlds. What the hell? Let's take it to the next level.
nugget, I call it for lack of a better word, that the first time you heard this statistic or you heard this philosophy, you said, oh, we better pay. Did you ever have a holy
Oh,
shit
this
moment
is
about
interesting.
something about climate that sort of jarred you into reality?
Let's
There's
use
so
this
many
to bullshit
yes
the
moments.
planet.
Say it. But to be honest, hearing that the people who we support through EFAD, who are rural people around the world in the agricultural sector, feed a third of the world's planet. 1/3. How are we forgetting about people who feed a third of our planet? And how are they going to do that if we don't help support them fight climate change and protect them when nature is literally knocking on their door? It was astonishing to me, the lack of funding, the lack of awareness. And because these people look like me and you, Gail, these are
Yes.
black and brown people around the world, rural people who have not had an opportunity to express the pain. And when we do these visits and I get an opportunity to meet some of these people, I just think, oh gosh, like these are the voices we should be championing. And Global Citizen, if anything, has done that, has had an amazing way of highlighting voices that have not been heard, who don't make news segments. And that's something that I'm really proud of.
Yes, yes, yes. Hugh Jackman, I can't stress enough the impact that night in your apartment that day, listening to Hugh Evans speak. And I know that since then you've been involved from the very, very beginning, and you've
She called him Hugh
encouraged other
Jackman.
people to get involved. I would imagine that Hugh calls you at all hours of the day and night back in the day. Was there ever a time when your caller ID said Hugh Evans and you said, not here?
Oh, wait a minute.
But then
It
you
is
pick
Hugh
up the phone
Jackman.
'cause you're thinking, oh, Hugh Evans is calling
Holy
again.
shit.
And,
No,
I'm
because-
only kidding.
Oh
about
my
it.
was
God.
sleeping on my couch.
Wolverine, I hate your guts now.
Is that true?
Yeah, so there was no getting away from him. So I'm just coming up, I've got a meeting, and I'm like, Hugh, it's been 8 days.
Oh, you're a disgrace to the
realize
comic book world.
Story before, but that is true.
I have another very important statistic, because I
Yes.
was there not very long ago in Turks and Caicos at Hugh Evans' 40th birthday. So he's no longer a child. I just want to be very clear.
Yes.
This baby face is actually grown up.
Yeah, don't be fooled by the baby face. But
Hugh
I don't
is
believe
relentless.
this.
Go ahead. Hugh is what?
He's relentless.
He really is.
I-
But
you're
relentless
right,
in a good
Crystal
way.
Shaman.
Yes.
Sometimes people are relentless, and it's
This is
extremely
like
annoying
completely
with a
destroying my
capital A.
paradigm
This is
here.
not what this man does, and I can't stress that enough.
I
encourage all
didn't
of you
realize
to
Hugh
figure out
Jackman was in the lineup
what
there.
happened already. But Hugh Jackman, since you've been here from the very start, what changes and results have
This
you seen?
changes everything, guys.
So many changes. I mean, it was 2008 when we first met, and I was so impressed by Hugh as a man, as a young man, his vision. He was clear he was a disruptor, but
Before people
will-
even thought about disruptors.
Right.
It was that, yes.
But will it sustain, and will there be trust built, as you said, Madam President? And that is what has been so extraordinary, I think, by Hugh's leadership and the entire team at Global Citizen. And now here we are, 10 concerts now in Central Park. There's been 33 million actions taken by Global Citizens. There's been $43 billion raised because of those actions, and 1.3 billion lives affected. That's a lot from one organization. And this started as an idea 14, 15 years ago. But what has been extraordinary is how it's just grown year in, year out. And we saw incredible work, as you said, with Ukraine, with COVID. We continue to see great work. And I know it's going to keep growing, because this is a movement. It's like it started as a very bright light. I was like, this is an amazing idea. It is now a wildfire, and it is just scorching through. And it's really at a tipping point now where I feel
They're
it
gonna
could
start
become
selling the
really one of
Global
major
Citizen
forces for
chip.
real change.
It did. It started out as a little bright light, and now it is a wildfire. And can I say this, guys?
So this is
none of us want to get
the
burned.
one world
Sabrina, what specific actions
government
do you think that citizens and government leaders
rule
can take to address the root of food insecurity?
where everybody's gonna have to be a
just to the
global
point,
citizen.
Again, that he was making about how
This is-
global hunger and climate are an
holy
inseparable
shit.
conversation now. For me, it's adaptation, adaptation, adaptation. It's about protecting and creating ways for rural people to protect themselves against the effects of climate change. And countries really are now, I think, after many a bilat with you and Mick, starting to understand that long-term thinking is what we need to switch to. There's a lot of short-term solutions. When you see a famine, these things are important. Aid is important. But what are we doing to keep these instances from happening again? For instance, I'm Somali, and I don't know if you're aware of what's happening in Somalia right now, but there's another famine. Another famine.
Okay, Crystal Shaman, I have to cry now. Okay? I'm just gonna mute and cry and let the video play, because I'm in shock right now. Okay? I'm in shock. I don't know what to do with myself.
Doesn't have to be this way. I mean, we need to set in stone measures to build resilience for rural people so that when these things do happen, we're not hearing the F word again and again. I've heard it my whole life now, and I'm sick of it. So just to be able to, pick up with governments, and actually even Germany stepped up and cleared arrears for Somalia when it came to EFAD, so that we could unlock 30 million in new funding to be able to spend towards adaptation. It's 1% of the funding at the moment, and it needs to be at least 50% when you're
That
talking
is something
adaptation
I
and
absolutely
mitigation.
agree
So
with.
I'm looking forward to picking up on those conversations. And then on a individual level, and one of the reasons I think panels like this are so important important. It's about listening, learning, and using your voice, because everybody in this room now has learned something from one of the panelists up here that they can now share or help spread the information for. My mom always said to me, you know, your voice is the most important thing you have, because even if you can speak to one person, you are influencing some kind of change. And it is so important to remember that Global Citizen provides everything you need to be able to use your voice in a way that actually matters. And that's all they're asking. If you don't have $1 to your name, your voice is worth more.
So,
So
you know what is fascinating about all this is you're right, okay? They are all actors, right? But you know what's funny about this is like the people that are watching, right, or that are in the audience there, and people who watch this live, and whoever's like reviewing it besides me. You know what's fascinating about it is I think they, in this particular format, the people that are watching aren't realizing that they're acting right now. Like they're still doing their job, right? They're still acting. They're doing their job there. But then I guess the audience would believe that, oh, no, like they're only acting when they're in the movies, right? When we see them in real life on a stage, they're not acting. They're just being them, right? This is like I think the lie that they're selling that people believe. That is like, holy shit, you know? Holy cows, man. Pat says, look up who Hugh really was when he died at 33 as a singer. He loves Justin Timberlake, by the way. Fittest flat earther. Interesting. Hugh came out in the limelight at the same time. Interesting.
But for those people who have the power of the microphone, please use it for good, because there will come a time when you will no longer have the microphone. And could we just say,
oh my
congratulations
God,
and happy anniversary?
Oh
to
my
Sabrina.
God, what a
She's her lovely
hey,
husband.
that was a veiled threat, man. Holy shit, did you hear that?
Your voice is worth more. So I think it's so important to remember that.
I also think that for those people who have the power of the microphone, please use it for good, because there will come a time when you will know.
There'd be people who, like myself, right? They're talking to us YouTubers, whoever's behind a mic, and you know, be careful. This is a freaking veiled threat, totally veiled threat, man. Wow. Hold on a second. I gotta.
For those people who have the power of the microphone, please use it for good, because there will come a time when you will no longer have the microphone. And could we?
Holy shit! There will come a time where you will no longer have the microphone. That was a direct threat. Veiled or direct, it was still a threat, right? Holy shit. Hey, J.R. Fitley, channel member, just walked in. What's up, J.R.? Well, yeah, you've been here before. I was like, oh, well, anyway, I missed you. I just saw you.
Just say congratulations and happy anniversary to Sabrina. She and her lovely husband, Idris Elba, have been just celebrated an anniversary here in New York City, and now she's with you. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Hugh Jackman, you said that sustainability is something, I've seen this in action with you, that you've been very passionate about your whole life. So can you share with the audience how you took that passion that you have and you turned it into action?
I went to Ethiopia 2009 as an ambassador for World Vision, and we did some work with fair trade farmers. I met a guy called Dukali. He had 5 children, a 6th on the way, and I spent a day working with him in his farm, and he didn't speak a word of English, and somehow by the end we became friends. And
How do you
I made
spend
a
a
promise.
day, Hugh, for a second, working with somebody and their farm and they don't speak English and you don't speak their language? How did you communicate that way?
He just pointed, gave me the shovel, do this, and
Okay,
I just followed.
Got it.
And it was the hardest work I've ever done. I'm an actor, after all. I'm like, Carly, I can do this for like 30
I'm an
minutes.
actor,
That's it.
after all.
But
I'm
I made
only
a promise to
acting
him
right
that I
now.
would do whatever I could to help farmers like him, fair trade farmers. And so in New York City here, me and my partner started non-for-profit cafe, Laughing Man Coffee, which is down on Duane Street. If you want to go and get it, we give our profits back to the farmers we buy from, like Dukali.
Could you say the name of that again, please, Hugh?
Laughing Man Cafe.
Okay.
There's two of them, a third on the way, but it was just a small way for us to connect the dots and to how I could use my platform, hopefully to make a difference to the people we met. You know, because I think, as Sabrina was saying, there's so many small farmers like Dukali who are on the edge. One bad season, it's all over. You know, the instability and the insecurity they live with is just unimaginable to most of us here. And a little bit of help from us goes such a massive, massive way. And I always go back. My dad used to remind me, you know what Mandela always said, poverty is not natural. It's not a normal state of being. It may be around, but it is human-made. And it can be human-corrected as well. It's up to all of us. There's more than enough resources for everyone on this planet. We just have to find creative ways to share them.
Yes, poverty is not natural. I love that point. Hugh, I know, Hugh Evans, you've never backed down from a challenge. And so I want to end with Madam President. But before we do that, what's the first step you think we can all take to make an impact?
Well, I think, firstly, it's important to realize that in this room are some absolutely extraordinary people. I'm going to single a few people out. Michelle Anthony and Kelly Curtis at the front are two of the most important leaders in the music industry in the United States. Prime Minister Erna Solberg of Norway, who ran the entire Norwegian economy for the last 10 years and is now joined the Global Citizen Board. Richard Curtis at the back there, who's probably the greatest filmmaker of our entire time and is also the champion of the Sustainable Development Goals. In this room are the people you can work with to drive campaigns that can create lasting change. And on the topic of Prime Minister Solberg, I want to share with you one example that shows the power of citizen action. A few years ago with Stephen Colbert, when Solberg was still Prime Minister, we launched what we called the Twitter invasion of Norway for girls' education. And one night on Stephen Colbert's show,
Twitter invasion?
Citizens, he sent so many tweets to Prime Minister Solberg that she called us from Oslo the next day and said, "Come to Oslo. I'm sick and tired of seeing all your tweets. I'm in the middle of a local election and I need you to shut up." And true story. And so we flew to Oslo. I'm not joking. This is actually what happened. We flew to Oslo the next day and she said, "What do you want?" in a bit nicer way than that. And 2 months later, beg your pardon, she got up on stage at Global Citizen and committed $200 million for girls' education. So that's the power of, and I say that because the next few days, you're about to hear, in addition to what you've already heard, you're about to hear from people who have plans to create lasting change. Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, who's with us right now, has been one of the few people who've championed the issue of fair financing for the emerging markets and for the developing world. Most of the world's poor don't live in the poorest economies, they live in the middle-income countries. So you actually have to address this as an issue of fair financing globally. Now, the thing that we're going to do as part of the next few days is we're going to make it easy to take action, but it only starts there, it doesn't end there. And what I mean by that is that I don't know if any of you are golfers in the room, if you play golf, but we're not going to ask you to hit a hole-in-one on a par 4. Yeah. We're going to put it right up to the on the, thanks, T-Box, you're a legend.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan. Thank you.
And we're going to help make it easy to get that putt in, right? And that's just the beginning. That's the example of that campaign with Prime Minister Solberg. But I want you to all design campaigns because no one has a monopoly over good ideas. And we need the ideas of young entrepreneurs from all around the world who want to design the next campaigns from Global Citizen, who are going to take over my role, who are going to take over Mick's role, who are going to take over all of our roles, because it's not about us. The mission is always greater than all of us, and that's what we're fighting for.
Yes. Thank you, Hugh. Madam President, I want to close this session with you because this number is pretty staggering to me. Listen to this, guys. Wealthy nations promise to mobilize $100 billion annually to help developing countries who are disproportionately impacted by climate change. But they are $16 billion short. That's a very big gap. What do you think can be done to make sure they step up and honor their promise? We talked in the beginning about trust deficit.
Yes, you're right. This is a big gap, and it is shameful that we have not been able in the last years to fill that gap.
So the United States is trillions of dollars in deficit, and they're starting programs to help other countries instead of helping the country that's trillions of dollars in deficit. Make sense, right?
The European Union has stepped up. We have contributed 23 billion to the 100 billion, but the 16 billion are still missing. So we have to rally my peers that we come up with the 16 billion this year because I just said it's a question of trust and disappointment. And we cannot disappoint those who are benefiting from the $100 billion. So you have my word that I will do everything this year to find, those who have not delivered so far and discuss tough with them.
Should we shame them?
Well, send text messages. This is good. And tweets. And as much as you can, yes, as much as you can nudge them toward that. And of course, it's my job also to rally my peers and to say, listen, we have to fill these 16 billion. But we also can do more than that. It's not 100 billion only. You said it, Sabrina, that it is the action that counts, that has to be done now. And I think the highly developed country, first of all, have to deliver themselves. We are the polluters. So this was, for me, the most important part when I started my mandate to have a very clear political vision. This is the European Green Deal. We have cast our goals in a law, because I think only what gets measured gets done. So I'm a big fan of goals that you can then follow up whether they are being delivered. And we have by now put a price on carbon, not only in industry, but we're just finalizing the law to put a price on carbon in road transport, in buildings, in maritime, in aviation, because a price on carbon means very simply, if you want to pollute, you have to pay heavily. If you don't want to pay, well, then innovate and go into renewables, for example, go into clean technologies. And this is the way out. And it works. It works. But it's not only the work at home.
You guys
it's also
think
the work abroad. And
you guys think that we're going to let you guys dictate if, you know, how much fuel's going to cost, right? Because you know what? Humans are resourceful, you dumb fuckers. All right? And I'm going to explain why. We're going to figure out how to fucking produce our own fuel. You get that? And that's without saying that there are people who already have. All right? There is no, oh, well, we're going to tax your fuel. Yeah, fine. Go ahead and tax the fuel. We'll just make our own. Okay?
Started a program that we call Global Gateway, where we invest together with countries, for example, from the Global South, because if we speak about fighting climate change, we speak about clean energy, we speak about wind, we speak about solar, it's green hydrogen.
It's not about fighting climate change. It's about fighting people like you who want to rip people off for your freaking stupid agendas.
And these resources are in abundance in the Global South. So it's in our common interest that we invest, for example, in green hydrogen that is being produced, for example, in Africa and used in Africa, but for them also a source of income by having the European Union as somebody who says, we are willing, of course, to take the green hydrogen that you want to export. Or, for example, invest in the Great Basin to prevent deforestation, invest in electric mobility in, for example, Bangladesh or Costa Rica. So all these are projects we are following up. And I want to say today, because it's not only action over time, but it's action now, that as European Union, we have decided together with the European Investment Bank that we will mobilize another 18 billion euros to make sure that there is investment in critical infrastructure in the Global South to fight climate change together. It's action now that counts.
All right, Madam President.
We're done. It's
You have the
over.
last word.
We're done, guys.
Thank you so much. Over the next 2 days,
Psych.
guys, you're going to be hearing from artists, world leaders, private sector, and global citizens from all around the world on this planet. We're going to find out what action every one of us can take to address the most critical issues that are facing
My
the world.
condolences,
This is the
Crystal.
place where ideas become impact people. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Oh, so they're pausing the live stream? It'll resume in a few seconds.
7 million
There it is.
lives, and likely many more, and unraveled decades of progress in human development. We come together 14 months after Russia's invasion of Ukraine has accelerated a global food crisis. Tonight, 828 million people will go to bed hungry. We come together on a planet that, despite some meaningful policy advances, is still on a path to warm by about 3 degrees Celsius. Today, we're blowing past targets and broken promises on the way to an outcome that threatens the lives and livelihoods of billions of people. Unfortunately, too many of these people feel alone in facing these overlapping crises. Despite historic efforts, the world's institutions have not met this moment. The extraordinary leaders and activists here today have put forth proposals that could unlock trillions of dollars in public and private financing to give everyone the opportunity to live and thrive in the 21st century. Simply put, we must turn these ideas into actions now, because the next pandemic will not wait. Climate change will not wait. And the people on the front lines...
Is that another, warning? Was that a warning? I think that was a warning.
Century. Simply put, we must turn these ideas into actions now, because the next pandemic will not wait. Climate change will not wait. And the people on the front lines of these crises shouldn't have to wait either. Fortunately, in Paris in June, world leaders will come together with an opportunity to decide how to fund the fight to slow climate change and restart human development. Today, we're going to talk about what needs to happen before and after that summit to meet the moment. So let's get started. Vanessa, welcome. You were on the cover of Time magazine. You've been invited to speak in front of some of the most powerful and influential leaders on the planet about climate change, its impacts, and how to resolve it. You've pointed out that promises are made over and over and are rarely kept. What should global citizens, activists, do between now and the Paris summit in June to change that equation?
Thank you very much. First of all, I think we need to ask
you
ourselves
guys should
the
all go on
question,
some fucking
why
island
do our
somewhere
leaders always ask
and don't
young
come
people
back.
to inspire them?
That's what you should do.
Why do our leaders always ask young people to challenge them? The science has been very clear. The IEA has been very clear. We cannot have any new fossil fuel development if we want to limit global temperatures below 1.5 degrees Celsius. The first rule, when you find yourself in a hole, is to stop digging. We are in a climate crisis. So the very first thing that we need to do, that our leaders need to do, is to stop all new investments in fossil fuels. And secondly, to help people that are suffering right now on the front lines of the climate crisis, people who are not responsible for this crisis. To speak of Africa as a continent, it is responsible for less than 4% of the global emissions. But we are seeing some of the worst impacts of the climate crisis. So one, no new investments in fossil fuels, and two, helping the communities that are on the front lines of this crisis.
Well, thank you. And Prime Minister Modi,
Oh, boy.
Barbados is both on the front lines of the climate crisis, and to Vanessa's second point, you have brought together the global community in Bridgetown last summer to craft a set of proposals to allow us to actually, for the first time, seriously protect vulnerable nations, vulnerable communities, and vulnerable families around the planet in a way that brings equity and justice to those who have long been left behind. What are the solutions you propose that would actually deliver the financing and the opportunity that the world so desperately needs?
I think I'm going to come to that in a minute, but I do want to say to Vanessa that we have to be conscious that we're not a one-issue world. And what we don't want is to ban investment in all fossil fuels and then end up with people dying from poverty or other sources that will lead to their demise. I think we can all agree that no new investment in oil, but we are clear that we are going to need a bridging fuel, which is natural gas, if we're going to sustain populations. How long we use it, I agree with you, needs to be as short as possible, but this is the real world and not just a conversation on a platform. With respect to the financing issues, look, without the oxygen, we're not going to be able to adjust ourselves to prepare for this crisis, and it's not climate change, it's a climate crisis. And to that extent, we believe that the multilateral development banks have to treble their lending. We believe that we have to confront the reality that there are already 50 countries, 52 countries to be precise, on debt row. And those are because of facing a polycrisis moment, from the pandemic to the climate to the increased inflation for whatever reasons.
Is that a dude or
We
a...
need to unlock far more private sector capital, but that means unlocking risk. We need to
that guy looks like,
deconstruct risk. People in the global south borrow at far more expensive rates than the people in the global north. That's why the plant that was announced
a gender, unidentified gender.
hasn't gotten off the ground. So, I mean, we can go into more details, Raj, but I'm conscious of the time. But suffice it to say that these and many other initiatives are part of the Bridgetown Development Fund, Bridgetown Agenda for Development Funding. You cannot have...
We're going to call them
development funding
UGRs,
as short-term
unidentified
money. You
gender
cannot have
roles.
children, young people, rather securing mortgages for 30 years in a way that countries can only get development funding for 10 and 12 years to build schools. And it is that disparity in terms of how the financial system works, not just the World Bank and the IMF, but the whole financial system's focus on short-term gains, short-term everything, has literally propelled the developing world to the edge of a crisis. And I hope that we can change that mindset in, obviously, the IFIs, but across the entire financial system.
Prime Minister, I'm going to ask you to follow up on that. Why, that is a radical vision of change and transformation, and you've been an eloquent voice for global leadership to make it real. What gives you confidence that such a bold vision of reforms and changes is possible today?
Because we want to save the planet, and because we want to make sure that people can live. The reality is that we do not yet know how to live on planet Mars. We only know how to live on Earth. And the same oil and gas companies, bankers, transport companies, insurance companies, they're living on the planet Earth too. So what does it make sense to earn hundreds of billions of dollars in profit for only 10 or 20 years rather than being able to sustain profit for the next century or two? The reality is that we need to put a place in the middle, and everybody needs to leave something in the middle. Nobody's asking to bankrupt companies. Nobody's asking to do the impossible with the international financial institutions. I think the consensus is developing. Here's the problem: scope and pace. If I have a heart attack and I'm going to the emergency room and I don't get help immediately, it doesn't matter how well-intentioned you are. So scope and pace matter at this point in time. Not 5 years from now, not 3 years from now, this year, right now.
Thank you. Chris, moving away from fossil fuels and moving towards clean energy is part of living up to the vision that Prime Minister Motley just laid out. Coldplay has been a leader in sustainable living and sustainable touring, and you've been a voice for real change and real accountability. And people follow your lead. Millions, tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions around the world. How do you get people to follow you down this path, and what can we do together to get more people to follow to create a climate-sensitive future?
Thanks, Raj. Hi, Mia.
Hi, Chris.
Vanessa. I'm sorry I'm not there in person. I had to go to the doctor. What was the question again, Raj? How do we get people to follow the lead?
How do we get hundreds of millions of people to follow your lead, the Prime Minister's lead, and Vanessa's lead to actually change our climate outcome?
Well, that's a wonderful question. What we decided to do in the last couple of years was just focus on what we could do and hope that other people might see it being successful rather than telling people what to do. Because we approached this most recent tour with the goal that we have to prove that thinking about the climate doesn't mean you can't do well economically, that being environmentally conscious is not a charitable thing, it's also economically viable. So we set out with that mission, and that's the way that we think we can show people to...
I think the solution is you got to reduce global population so we can reduce carbon emissions, because humans fart too much. Okay? We fart so much that, you know, it'll be the next step in the carbon reduction narrative there. They've started with you know, the cows and everything and the cars, and then they're gonna go for human farts. I'm telling you.
To show that it's profitable and sensible and not just philanthropic.
Well, thank you, and I think it's certainly true when you show that. You're likely to get many, many more followers than the rest of us, but it's a mantra we can all, in fact, live by in trying to be role models. Vanessa, I want to come to you before going back to others on the panel, because you've talked about loss and damage in the context of the COP climate meetings. The Prime Minister's been also an eloquent voice on loss and damage. What does loss and damage mean to you, and why are you so focused and passionate about ensuring that countries, including the wealthiest nations, kind of recognize and respect the concept of loss and damage in this fight?
Well, the climate
crisis what a question.
Wreaking havoc on so many communities, you know, not only across Africa, but many.
Totally loaded question.
South. And many people are being pushed, you know, beyond the places of adaptation. You cannot adapt to the loss of your cultures. You cannot adapt to, you know, the loss of your history. You cannot adapt to starvation. For me, this is where loss and damage comes in. And that's why it's important that we not only aim at the establishment of a loss and damage fund, but that actual money because it's still an empty bucket that needs
Of
to be
course, it's
filled.
always about the money.
Children that are starving, they don't feed on empty buckets, or communities that are, experiencing cyclones or floods. So there's really a need for our leaders to keep up with their promises. There is always a gap between what is promised and what is done. And we've seen that, from the $100 billion, and now we have this loss and damage fund. It's really important that our leaders keep up with their promises. We've seen countries like Mozambique have to get high interest loans in order to address impacts of the cyclone Ida in 2019 that left over 1,300 people dead. So for me, it's really what we need to do, because people are already talking about loss and damage and what is needed. It's about what leaders must do to keep up with their promises.
Well, I'm so glad you describe it that way, because loss and damage is about, as you point out, understanding that we need a systemic solution so people don't go hungry because of climate change's impacts on agriculture or because of the current economy's impacts on interest rates. Prime Minister Motley, you have made the point that you are, if I can say this publicly, tired of small one-off solutions and demanding a more full systemic solution to the injustice that is represented. How did you get to that statement, and how do we help create a movement that solves the injustice that got you there?
Well, I think we all know the injustice that got us there. When we started to create the new modern world in 1945, it was just 50 countries. We're now almost at 200 countries. And if therefore what mattered to 50 is what the world looks like, then we're not going to solve the problems of the almost 200. Secondly, we need to know that the purpose of the institutions when created were for reconstruction from the Great War. They were also to be able to fight poverty. You heard Hugh earlier say that 70% of poor people don't live in poor countries. They live in middle-income countries. But yet the rules of engagement and the rules of access exclude them. I'm glad that Vanessa talked about loss and damage, because countries do not need more debt. They need help to be able to fight a crisis that they didn't create. And therefore, if we're going to be true to the moment, we need to ensure that those countries and those communities have access to money that doesn't put them on debt row. So I believe that the systemic unlocking of risk, the systemic unlocking of international finance, that all of these things are critical, because guess what? In addition to the climate crisis in 2019, we got the pandemic. In addition to the pandemic of 2020, we got the war in Ukraine and the expenditure for coming out of quantitative easing in the northern world that led to inflation. In addition to the inflation and the pandemic and the climate crisis, looms artificial intelligence and looms also the future pandemic of antimicrobial resistance. If we don't solve today's problems today, God knows what else we're going to be solving on top of today's problems tomorrow. That's why we need to make commitments now, as opposed to 2 years or 1 year or 3 years, and moving from changing the equity to loan ratio at the World Bank from 20% to 19%, a lot of technical babble. What does it mean? $5 billion a year when the world needs 2.4 trillion. Now, bear with me, the 2.4 trillion is not only about public money, as you know. We probably need 500-600 billion of public money, and then a lot of that to unlock private sector capital. So we just need to we need to take the Nike ad, just do it.
Chris, I'm going to come to you on the Nike ad, just do it. Because you know the power of using your platform, using your voice, and using your fame to make a tremendous impact. And we have a question that global citizen Stephen Kirk from the United Kingdom asked us on social media. Stephen asks, how do we inspire others to participate in climate action? What pathway worked for you, and what would you recommend to say to others who are not currently engaged in this fight?
Okay. Well, firstly, what me or Prime Minister Motley said is that you just have to remind everybody that this is where we all live, and you can be a trillionaire, but if there's no planet, there's nowhere to spend money. That's the main thing, is to help people understand that this affects you too. Even if you think it doesn't at the moment, it will. So I feel that if you can engage people's own sense of self-preservation in a way, that's a really good thing, that none of us are immune to what's happening to the planet. I think that it's not really about someone who's famous or someone who's, it's not about preaching, it's about, this is why I love Global Citizen, it's about engaging your voice and understanding that if you join another 90,000 people and all email Ron DeSantis or whoever, you know, that makes a wave, and the power is in community. And Global Citizen is wonderful from my perspective because it's a non-elected force, you know, a powerful force. And yeah, that's my answer.
Well, thank you, Chris. I think Your point about global citizens everywhere taking action, getting political leaders to pay attention, to live up to promises, to understand that hunger and starvation in a part of Uganda that you witnessed as a result, Vanessa, of climate change is not only a challenge in Uganda, but in fact a threat to every one of us, to our basic being. And so thanks to all of you for crafting a path forward for the world. I will say, as the Prime Minister noted, nearly 80 years ago, after the deaths of at least 60 million people during the Second World War, world leaders came together to prevent that kind of catastrophe from ever happening again. They established, as the Prime Minister noted, the UN, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund. They created institutions to create a safer, more integrated, and more prosperous world. Now, 3 years after the start of a pandemic that killed at least 7 million people, and amid a climate catastrophe that, as Chris just pointed out, is an existential threat to humanity, we have not seen anything like that level of ambition, that scale, and that effort. We have 57 days until the Paris summit begins. What can we do, what can you do in those 57 days to meet this moment? That's the question we should ask ourselves today. Our incredible panelists have given us some good initial answers, but most importantly, they've given us and me hope that we can build a brighter future together. Thank you.
That's it, folks. That's all. That was the summit. Is there more? Oh, wait, there's more. Hold on a sec. There's a little bit more.
Today, increasing inequality and climate change threaten to undo a generation's progress on ending extreme poverty. The world's poor have done the least to cause climate change, and yet they are getting hit first and the hardest. Drought-induced famine is starving parts of Africa, and small island nations are at risk of devastating sea level rises. Where you live should not determine if you live.
To address these issues, I'm proud to announce the Power Our Planet campaign. We are calling on world leaders, the private sector, and the World Bank specifically to step up loans and funding for the world's most vulnerable countries so they can transition to clean energy and withstand natural disasters. And I'm pleased to announce that Prime Minister Motley is our campaign co-chair.
Thank you. Thank you, and please, Mia. And I just want to talk to the global north and the global south, because for the first time, our populations are facing the same reality in a very long time. We live on one planet, and if we don't get this right, there is nowhere else to go. And I need more than ever the citizens of the north and the citizens of the south to band together to send the message that we must act now to save tomorrow.
Hey everyone, in this video.
All right, let me look into the other one. Hold on a second. I'm looking at this. Hold on a second. Okay. I'm trying to find it. I can't see it. Still looking for it. Hold on a sec. Is it this one? No, that's not it. That's not it. Hold on. I don't see it anywhere. Damn it. That would have been good. It's giving me a bunch of shorts. Oh man, is it so fucking hard to find? There's nothing on this. Nothing at all. We're both intimidated working with each other. The first look at Kate Hudson, Hugh Jackman in Song Blue. That's 48 seconds. Yeah, there's nothing here. I don't see nothing. I can't find anything. Too bad. I was trying to find what you were saying here. Warring and his former singer identity. It's great shit. It's under 10 minutes. Fittest Flat Earther. At Fittest Flat Earther. Okay. Hold on a second. Fittest Flat Earther. Okay. And then... Hold on a sec. Let me find it. Oh, holy shit, man. Oh, is this it? No. This must be it. I think I found it.
What if I told you Hugh wasn't at all who you thought he was? And everything from his name, his place of birth, and even his accent are just a designed character to control your mind. And I'm not talking his Wolverine character. Oh no, I'm talking the character of Hugh Jackman himself. You see, just yesterday I had a follower send me Keith Whitley, and he wanted me to look him up because he thought he might be playing another country singer. But I couldn't help but see the resemblance in a certain Hugh Jackman. A real resemblance. And well, if you don't know who Keith Whitley is, it's okay. I didn't either. But here you go.
Jackie Keith Whitley was a country musician who rose to fame in the 1980s. However, his career was cut short when he died at only 33 years old.
What an interesting number to die at, 33. And you want to see something funny? He was born in Sandy Hook, Kentucky, and they marveled at his songs. Marveled at his songs. Marveled at his songs. And the funny thing about his age that he died at, yesterday it was 33, and then today the internet couldn't decide. Almost like they messed with the algorithm because they knew a video was coming. But let's get back to the main topic at hand here. Yeah, sure, people look alike, Tyler. I'm told that all the time. They look alike. People have doppelgangers. They do. That's true. But usually those doppelgangers don't have exact symmetry in their face across multiple different timelines and pictures and ages. And usually those doppelgangers don't play almost the exact same guitar and have wives that look identical to each other. But Tyler, he was born in Australia. He has an Australian accent. How could they ever get rid of that?
Bakes in Wolverine where you had to retake a scene because you felt your accent slipped in.
Yeah. The words I-G-H-I. So on the trailer it says, are you on the right side? And it sounds really, I had to redo it because I said right. Right is hard for me.
Oh, yeah. How do you get rid of that accent? Did you study for years?
I have a dialect coach, and he gives me a sentence that I'll see if I can remember it. How many times have you asked Sam whether or not his daughter has congenital disorders or something like that? And I say that in my head before every day, before every take. And in that sentence is every difference in vowels or consonants or anything.
It's an amazing process to get rid of an accent like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. In a way, don't you wish you were born in America so that you wouldn't have to deal with that aspect of acting?
Completely. In fact, I did a movie called Australia, and I was like, hallelujah, this is so bizarre.
You could use your accent.
Yeah. At one point, someone said, mate, that sounded a little bit American. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Maybe, just maybe, that dialect coach was to get rid of that Kentucky twang and teach him how to sound Australian just for interviews.
You're no stranger to the Grand Ole Opry stage or backstage. You performed here before, and you're here a lot of times with your beautiful wife, Lori, so this must be like a second home. It is, and it's really special to me because I grew up, the opera was so important to me growing up. My mom and dad were big opera fans, and if we couldn't pick up the opera on our radio in the house, we'd get out and drive around in the car and listen to it, so the opera has just been and I think this is probably the one place that I still really get nervous when I perform is at the Opry. There's just something about it, so much history and everything here. But even in spite of that, I always, anytime we can do the Opry, we look forward to it. And if I'm off and I'm not working, then I come over with Lori when she's doing it. So I'm kind of getting to be a regular around here.
Yeah. At one point, someone said, mate, that sounded a little bit American. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Just to add a little bit more to it, not that I need it. The first video I looked up of him on ShmooTube just happened to be 3 minutes and 33 seconds long. Would you imagine that? And well, I don't even think I need it in this one, but you know what I always come with. Now let's just see who they belong to. I bet none of you can guess. Oh, imagine that. Keith Whitley and Hugh Jackman. What a coincidence. What a outright crazy coincidence. Now, what I would like to strongly get across to all of you is that the reason I do this is, one, because they just come to me. It's a gift. But two, if you can see that they are lying about this, well then maybe, just maybe, it will cause you to question everything that you think you believe to be truth. Maybe so much that you even question who and where we are. And ultimately, if you dig deep enough, what I hope you find is that you are a very special person in a very special place, created by a very special God. And I'm not talking any little g gods that these guys worship. I'm talking about the Heavenly Father, the God. You see, they all, Keith Whitley and Freddie Mercury, they worship a different God, a little g God, a fallen angel God. And they tell us right in plain sight.
It was
was only a matter of time before Keith landed a recording contract. He signed with RCA, the label of one of his heroes, Elvis Presley.
If you still don't know who Elvis is, that number is a clue, because Elvis is Trump, is Lucifer. All for entertainment purposes, though. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that they have the same guitar and their wives look identical, and that he died at 33 and they marveled at his songs, and their faces are perfectly symmetrical with the same 2 dots on them. All coincidence, and I'm just here to entertain you, just like he's just here to entertain you and not at all control your mind in directions anywhere but the truth. I'm a satire account. Entertainment only. Have a nice day.
Well, strangely enough, I was looking up when Hugh Jackman made his first debut in the movies. And it says here that it was Wolverine in X-Men. So, Friday X-Men, Deadpool 2024. First movie. Come on, man. Role in the original Australian productions of Beauty and the Beast as Gaston in 1995, Sunset Boulevard. 1996. Okay, hold on a sec. Early life. Nah. Graduated with a BA in communications. All right, hold on a sec. I said, how old is he now? Hmm. 1995. I got a performance. Jack received a phone call. Tampa drama. ABC Drive-In's first professional job. It's in 1995. Played Gaston in a local Walt Disney of Beauty and the Beast. And Joe Gillis, Sunset Boulevard, during the staging was going on 1998, 1999, 1998, and that. So he started his career in Hollywood in 1995. So when was that dude born? What's the other guy's name?
And it's really special.
Something Whitaker.
A dialect coach was to give
So that you wouldn't have times if you asked Sam.
However, his
Hugh Jackman.
Keith Whitley.
A real.
Keith Whitley. Interesting. When did Keith Whitley die? There we go. Thank you. May 9th, 1989. Ah. So there's a 6-year gap there. They say here at the age of death was at 34 years old. All right. Date of birth, 1954. But that doesn't make any sense. 1954? That would make him like fucking... that'd make him an old freaking geezer. 54? That'd make him like... Hold on, 1954. That'd make him like 60-something years old. Is that even possible? Anyway. Anybody wants to join the show, hit the like button and hit the StreamYard link that I'm dropping in chat. Lord Gaga. Lady Gaga and Amy Winehouse? That's what? That's the same person? Hold on, let me check that out. Huh.
All right, so today is July 23rd, the day that Amy Winehouse died, but she didn't die. She actually faked her death, and she's playing the role of Lady Gaga right now. And as you guys can see by this picture alone, it's clear that they're the same person. You know, I'm probably going to use this picture for the thumbnail because the side profile is exactly the same. You know, the nose is exactly the same. The jawline is the same, and the eyes are exactly the same. You know, they even dress alike. It's crazy. There's so many similarities between them, and there's so many comparisons online. You know, I could have got hundreds and hundreds of tweets, but all I did was just find some comparisons online. Because anywhere you look, there's people comparing them. You know, everybody's saying that Lady Gaga should play Amy Winehouse in a biopic. That's how much people can see that she looks like her. And it's crazy because I didn't know who this was in this picture. You know, I thought it was Lady Gaga at first, but this is actually Amy Winehouse. And when you compare her to Lady Gaga, they look exactly the same. And here's Amy Winehouse again. You know, she looks exactly like Lady Gaga. They have the same body type and everything. And this is obviously a man. You know, I can clearly tell that this is a man. You know, like I always say, 99% of mainstream celebrities are inverts. And I couldn't tell whether this was Lady Gaga or Amy Winehouse. I still don't know. I'm assuming it's Amy Winehouse because the picture looks older, but I don't even know, to be honest. Because they look exactly the same. Like, to all the people who deny my videos, I want you guys to try to deny this one. Because we've never seen them in the same room. We've never seen them talk to each other. And that doesn't actually mean anything because they can put two of the same person in the same room. And I showed you guys proof of Kid Boo doing that on Instagram Live. Will Ferrell also did that too, so I'll make a video about him too. But anyways, it's clear that Amy Winehouse and Lady Gaga are the same. Like, I really don't have to do much for this video. If you guys denied this one, I don't even know what to tell you because this one is so obvious. Even my mom saw this one because she's a big Amy Winehouse fan and she saw it right away. So let me know what you guys think about this and show this to all the Amy Winehouse fans. You know, I bet your parents are big Amy Winehouse fans. So if you show them this, I'm pretty sure they're going to see it right away. And here's a picture that somebody did where they put Lady Gaga's face on top of Amy Winehouse. And all the facial features match up exactly the same. And here's another good side profile right here. So this picture right here convinced me the most because they look exactly the same. Like, I don't think anybody can deny this one. I'm curious if anyone is going to deny this one because it's just way too obvious. And then Lady Gaga did this interview with Rolling Stone. And you guys can pause it and read it if you want, but she basically said she's a huge fan of Amy Winehouse, which is clearly not a coincidence. And Amy Winehouse is a part of the 27 Club, which is a list of popular musicians, artists, or actors who died at age 27. So I'm going to start exposing more celebrities who are part of the 27 Club, because everybody in the 27 Club faked their death. But anyways, back to Amy Winehouse and Lady Gaga. So they're only 3 years apart. You know, they always use the number 3. And 3 years apart, that's not a big deal. You know, they're basically the same age. And one thing I noticed is that Amy Winehouse was born on 1983. And in case you guys are new, murder equals 83, 38, and killing and death equal 38. So that's proof that her death was scripted.
So if
all right, now let's
Jimi
pay attention
Hendrix
to the numerology. So
faked his
her
death,
birthday is September 14.
then if that's
1 +
true,
4
I
is
think
5,
Jimi
and then
Hendrix
September is
is
the 9th month.
Morgan
So
Freeman.
9 + 5 is 14. So the numerology of her birthday is 14. And there's so many 14s with this. So first of all, Lady Gaga is 41, which is 14 backwards. And then Amy Winehouse is 158. And when you add that up, it's 14. Because 1 plus 5 is 6, and then 6 plus 8 is 14. And then Amy Winehouse is 59, and 5 plus 9 is 14. And then same thing with Lady Gaga, 1 plus 5 is 6, and 6 plus 8 is 14. So all the yellow ones are the 14s. And now let's get into the 13s, because the numerology for Lady Gaga's birthday is 13, because it's March 28. 2 plus 8 is 10, and March is the third month. So that's 13. And all the ones in red are the 13s. So Lady Gaga is 58, which is 13. And then 31, which is 13 backwards. And then 166, 1 plus 6 is 7, and 7 plus 6 is 13. And then 5 plus 8 is 13. So by looking at this, you can see that all their numbers are connected. And there's so many gematria connections with this. So the numerology of Amy is 3366, as you guys can see at the bottom numbers. And then Lady is 6633. And Lady equals 66. And as you guys know, Masonry is 33. And 33 plus 33 is 66. And then Winehouse is 11117. And Gaga is 7711. So there's so much gematria connections with this. And I'm pretty sure there's way more. But the last ones I found are Amy Winehouse and Lady Gaga both equal 158. And then Lady Gaga equals 58. And Amy Winehouse equals 58. And like I said earlier, Amy Winehouse and Lady Gaga are guys. So if you guys want more evidence on that, watch this video right here. Because this person did a good job breaking down how Amy Winehouse is a boy. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe. And now I'm just going to show you guys all the videos of Lady Gaga talking about Amy Winehouse. And the first video I'm going to show you guys is a video of Lady Gaga touching a fan that has a Amy Winehouse tattoo.
Man, that shit pop like hydraulics. I don't get high, I get knowledge. No. Tell them kids don't go to college, school block. Yo, fuck it, they look out the shade again. I see the program, these niggas is aliens. They loving the babies, get piece of cake. This shit a piece of cake. Under urban, don't keep they your you don't murder. You don't really you need shit is you ain't they don't we got the path bro side on you have wrong.
For this, it's not yes, I always dress like this. This is like I breathe and live for this. It's not for you, it's for me. I'll talk also a bit about Amy Winehouse, just because for me she's like fucking royalty now, and rightfully so. She's this brilliant artist, and she's exactly who she is. And I love it because whenever I hear her music on the radio, it's not, okay, here comes the hook, here's the hook, it's coming. It's not like this commercial explosion of something we've already heard. It's so completely her. I'm influenced by her bowls. But it's funny, Brit's got a lot of bowls.
I wanted to ask you because, you know, Amy Winehouse passed about a week ago now, I guess it is. She's 27, an incredible artist. You know, your thoughts on the passing of somebody with such amazing talent?
I'm just so devastated and so sad. And I really couldn't speak for like 48 hours straight. I was in such shock. And, you know, I just think the most unfortunate thing about it all is the way that the media spins things, like, oh, here we can learn from Amy's death. I don't feel that, you know, Amy needed to learn any lessons. I felt that the lesson was for the world to be kinder to the superstar. You know, everybody was so hard on her, and everything that I knew about her was that she was the most lovely and nice and kind woman. So
a lot of people blamed her for her addiction.
Yes. Right.
Which is stupid because addictions are serious issues and it's diseased.
It is, yeah. And also, I read that she actually, the reason for her death was because she stopped cold turkey and her body couldn't handle.
Is that what they said?
Yes, and
you know, it also said, she was 27, you're 25.
and enormous fame, and you have enormous fame. And it said that she struggled, along with the addiction, she struggled with the fame. This kind of fame is very hard to handle. You have. How come?
Well, it's a very lonely life, but I think that that's part of what we love about her. You know, you can't have it both ways. You can't enjoy listening to someone sing sad songs about the blues and heartbreak and then not expect them to be truly heartbroken and expect something different out of them.
Sad songs.
Sure, I do.
Yeah. And you've talked openly about the fact that you did cocaine. You talked about it just recently in a television show. And
Yeah, I used to do hard drugs.
And you did hard drugs, and you drank, or you drink. How did you get it? The easiest thing to do is to just keep doing it. The hard thing is to do what you did.
Well, I was so embarrassed. You know, my dad sort of called me out about it one day, and so
She's wearing
I stopped.
the
I don't
black
do
and
any
white
hard drugs anymore.
Freemason
I'm a little
checkerboard
part
floor
of the
zigzag.
green club sometimes.
What did your father, how did he do that?
You had someone to hold you accountable. Like, that was your dad. He held you accountable.
What
He
did
said,
your father do? That's instructive.
my dad was like, you know, I know what you're doing, and just so you know, I did it, and I lost every friend and everything that I ever had while I did it. He shared with me his life story and his struggle. So that was what ultimately changed my life. And honestly, it was the best thing that ever happened. I never went back, never
So
wanted
are you trying to share this with the little monsters?
Saturn hat.
I don't want them to do anything bad that would ever hurt them. I want them to be, you know, healthy and happy. And there's a way to be recreational and be young and rebellious and have a good time and not hurt yourself.
Now, it's only been a few weeks since Amy Winehouse's tragic death, and we're already hearing rumors of a biopic in the works. Not only that, but guess who apparently wants to play her? Lady Gaga. Seriously. The Daily Star in the UK is reporting that Gaga wants to play the late singer in a movie about her life. A source told the paper Lady Gaga worshipped Amy and would love nothing more than to transform herself into the idol on the big screen. She'd be spot on performing Amy's songs and has got the right look and attitude. The person went on to say Gaga's been itching to make the transition from music into movies and sees this as her ideal role to launch her film career. Gaga's management team has been discussing possible film ventures before Amy's untimely death, but there's only ever been one role she wants to play, and that's Amy. Pretty interesting info, but let's not get our hopes up quite yet, because obviously it's just a rumor at this point. But what do you guys think about the possibility? Would Gaga play Amy's part well, or is this all just too soon to be thinking about? Let us know your thoughts below. Subscribe for more news updates.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, dude.
Lady Gaga visits Amy. Will I Am Sick pulls out of a gig, and NDevs showcase their best. We wouldn't exactly describe Lady Gaga as subtle by any stretch of the imagination, but surprisingly, while she was in London, she managed to make a secret, unnoticed visit to Amy Winehouse's home in North London to pay her respects to the star. To make sure she wasn't seen, Gaga apparently made the pilgrimage in disguise. We wonder which one she went for.
Interesting. So she just went back to her
Many
house.
artists have been tweeting or blogging to pay their respects to the late Amy Winehouse, and now even Lady Gaga has taken the time to express her feelings towards Amy. She stopped by AMP Radio here in Los Angeles to talk with Carson Daly and spoke about everything from gay marriage, being famous, and what she learned from Winehouse. Gaga said, "I didn't know her. I loved her so much. I was nobody when she was first coming out. I have really..."
Right, exactly. It was like, how do you write your own songs and do shit you want to do when you're in contract with some sort of entity, you know, like, well, you come up with a new persona and write new songs and you know, that's all. You write new songs, you create a new brand, and you just go ahead and do that, you know, on the side while you're running the show on the other side. So if anything happens to the other character, just like when we us YouTubers create backup channels, well, these artists might create backup personas. They want to change their, like they want to go in a different direction. They want to do some other type of music or something. They want to change their style or brand. So like, just come up with a new name, a new style of music, a new brand. Just like to follow the trend and not have the other persona sell out to the commercial industry or whatever, right? Keep that brand locked down and then just like create a brand new one. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Dark hair and all the time.
And there was nothing from her preventing Amy Winehouse from playing both characters at the same time while Lady Gaga was slowly on the come up. Amy Winehouse, you know what I'm saying. I was like, all of this makes sense. This can all fit together.
Time on the street, people would go, Amy, Amy, and they would go back in black. They'd scream at me. I loved her, and I just remember feeling like I wasn't alone because she was so different and she was so special. It's really devastating, and I think it's a lesson to the world. Don't kill the superstar. Take care of her. Take care of her soul. You guys can listen to Gaga's entire interview with AMP by clicking the link below. Let us know what you think of her statement on Amy as well.
And, like, I've heard, like, Freemasons can't be women, right? Unless you're a trans. Unless you were a man and you just transitioned over to a woman, you still, in essence, you can still be a Freemason, even though you've transitioned over. So that's why we have Freemason, the Illuminati, women and men, but they're all men, actually. Isn't that nuts?
We've all been dying for Amy Winehouse to make a comeback for a couple years now, and it looks like we're finally getting our wish. According to USA Today, Wino is teaming up with Tony Bennett for a follow-up to his 2006 release of Duets. Now, this project, entitled Duets 2, will feature Lady Gaga, Carrie Underwood, Michael Bublé, Josh Groban, Faith Hill, Norah Jones, Willie Nelson, Katie Lang, and Andrea Bocelli. Woo! Talk about a lineup. Guess when you're Tony Bennett, you have an easy time with recruitment. For Amy, the duet will be her first recorded appearance since her cover of Leslie Gore's It's My Party last year. We're hoping that this gets the ball rolling with her since she hasn't really done much of anything since 2006's Back to Black. Bennett's Duets album sold 1.7 million copies worldwide, so this follow-up will likely do pretty well, especially after hearing that lineup. So what do you Wino fans think? Do you miss Amy? Comment below.
A really amazing moment with her when she's, hanging out at the studio and she's talking to Nick and they're talking about the origin story, I guess, or the motivation for her 2009 performance at the VMAs when she's talking about paparazzi.
Yeah.
And she's talking about Marilyn Monroe and Anna Nicole Smith, and if you could correct me, that'd be great. It seems like she's talking about Amy Winehouse.
Yeah.
Would you mind kind of exploring that? I mean, is this something that you guys talked about? Because I know that she's been a massive fan of Amy, and she's, so could
They were
I was wondering
friends.
if you could expound upon that.
Her and I never talked about it. It was just in the line of what she was saying. She was talking about other women that had succumbed to, say, the pressures of fame or the exploitation of celebrity. And these are artists that she felt like, at least with that VMA performance where she's bleeding out on stage, she felt like it was kind of a tribute to them, right? She was like, if you want me to be sexy, I'll be sexy, but I'm also going to bleed to death, just to make you think about like all the other sex pots that lost their lives in this pop industrial complex or whatever. She's very aware of this stuff, and so she references and someone else, and she never says Amy's name, but it's understood, I think, at that moment. And it's sad. I mean, they were friends, and obviously Mark, who was working with Gaga in the studio at that time, was very close with Amy and produced Back to Black, and Amy's spirit was sort of felt around the studio a lot, maybe just for that reason. There's some obvious sort of similarities between Gaga and Amy that people have always pointed out, just physically. Then they came out around a similar time, and they're singer-songwriters, and they both they're interested in these old sounds. But I think in a way, Gaga sees herself as a survivor. A lot of people didn't make it past 27, and Amy's one of them. And so for Gaga to have gone through that threshold, and she really walked right up to the edge, especially those years. I think she thinks of herself now as somebody who's made it past that and has survived. And I think people can be kind of cynical and be like, oh, you're rich and famous, like what do you have to worry about her? And that's true. Obviously she has a lot of great support But there is a very particular experience of being a young woman that becomes incredibly famous, or a young man as well, who becomes incredibly famous at a young age for making music and performing. And there's so much energy that's expected to pass through these kids, through these people. You know, they take so much in and they have to push so much out, and it really can be destructive. You know, and a lot of them don't survive, and do become are sacrificed to this experience. For her to evoke Amy at that moment was really chilling, and she doesn't dwell on it. It's just a kind of echo in the scene, but you picked up on it, so that's interesting.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Finally, it's over. This is just the beginning.
It's just the beginning. And it's over. Wow. Fascinating stuff. Absolutely mind-boggling. Let me drop the link again for people who want to join this cashless stream. Oh, excusez-moi. We don't know, Tarek. We just don't know, Tarek. It's just it's upside down and inverted. It's out of this world, man. You don't need to make this shit up in a fictional story. It's happening in real life. So burn the feed, guys. All right, it's time for a musical break.
They sell you silence in a platinum case. Smile in your face while they tighten the brace. Pump fake news with a holy grace. Then cash your fear at a government place. They program minds with a sterilized stream. Push pills, fake thrills, pixelated dream. You scroll, you vote, you scream unseen. You were born to fight, not to serve machines. Burn the feed. Let the towers fall. Tear down lies from the padded hall. No more chains, no more crawl. We break the script, we scorch it all. Burn the feed, yeah, let it bleed. This ain't peace, it's a raw stampede. No more sleep, no more plead. We are the fire, we are the need. Your voice ain't yours when the wires own it. Truth gets choked while the suits condone it. They preach change, then clone opponents. Keep you numb with a screen and a bonus. This is for the rebels that bite when muzzled. The sparks in the dark where the signals huddle. We don't clap back, we flip the puzzle. And light the fuse in their empire's tunnel. Burn the feed, crash the code, break their laws that choke the globe. No more brands, no more mold. We bring heat, they can't control. Burn the feed, let the truth stampede. Crack the screen, make the virus breed. No more pause, no more plead. Rage is the language that freedom reads. They built this world on a quiet lie. Stack bricks of fear in a suit and tie. But the system's cracked. The wires hum. And the flames don't stop till the truth has come. We ain't calm. We ain't tame. We spit justice through the flame. Turn off the screen. Step outside. You feel that? That ain't change. That's control.
They tax your breath while they fly in fleets, pushing panic in ads while they dance in suites. They save the world with elite receipts, then toast on yachts with blood on seats. You recycle dreams while they burn whole towns. You turn off lights, they torch the grounds. Every pledge is a leash that keeps you down while they sell fresh air by the ounce downtown. Green light, it's all a game, covering greed with a climate name. They sell guilt while they shift the blame. Now we pay the price for their flame. Green light, don't bother fear. They ain't cleaning, just shifting gears. While the smokestack rise and the sky ain't clear, they just hide the truth in a green veneer. They plant one tree, then burn 10 more. Spray skies at night, but you beg for war. They say carbon's bad while they pave the shore and raise gas costs so the poor stay poor. You sip paper straws, they drill new wells. You walk to work while they build more shells. They ban your voice when the numbers swell and call it settled from a golden cell. You loud a fixed lie, it's a mask, a scheme. They sell self-elevation in a branded dream. While the oceans boil and the deserts scream, they count green bills in a smoke machine. Green light, this ain't reform. This is profit dressed in a storm. They don't care if the ice cap's warm, long as fear keeps the sheep informed. You ever wonder why the truth don't trend? Why the facts get bent? Till your will just bends. You ever ask who makes the rules? It ain't about saving, it's about tools. To herd, to brand, to tax, to ban. They play God with a carbon plan. Green lies, we see the scheme. You can't hide truth behind a screen. We breathe the fight, not the dream. You can't cage the earth with a climate meme. Green lies, games exposed. All your charts and suits decompose. You want control, we chose revolt, and we coming in hot. Let the system implode. You want the planet? Start by burning the script.
All right, everybody, we're back after that short musical break. Yeah, I made this with AI tools, right? Wrote the script, chose the music, the instruments, the whole thing. It's almost like working with MIDI, right? But like next level MIDI, right? Like MIDI can sing now. It's like fucked up. I'm freaking out. It's like, how can you compete? How can you compete? This is the type of music I would want to write. I mean, I've made my own. I have You Don't Care About Anything, which is I'm the one singing and rapping in that song, So it's around the same type of energy and feel and flow that I like listening to. So it's like in other words, I'm just listening, I'm just creating songs that I'd actually just like listen to myself, right? It's just like, it's awesome because there's nobody out there. I was like, the closest we could come to the type of music that I like is maybe Tom McDonald, right? Because it's like political. And then there's like Rage Against the Machine and, a couple of other political bands that are freaking really good in my opinion, right? System of a Down is another one. They're a little bit political, guys. If you listen very carefully to the lyrics of their songs. So yeah, and the sound I got, like the sound was inspired a little bit by Limp Bizkit, right? Because I like the how they fucking like their music and how it punches, right? So I'm I get inspired by them, but not necessarily their lyrics. Their lyrics, in my opinion, it sucks, right? Limp Bizkit's lyrics suck, but the music, their fucking music is fucking great. Okay, so imagine mixing in Rage Against the Machine with fucking Limp Bizkit, like fuse those two groups together, and you got like these songs that I'm coming up with right now. And I'm having fun with this, guys. As a musician, as an artist, I can appreciate, this how this AI is really freaking. In my opinion, guys, it's the wave of the future of music. It's like unless you're better than that, you're not going to be going far, right? You'll have a small audience. This is like fucking high fucking quality production, guys. Even as I've been working at this for years, and the quality that this freaking thing can output is absolutely mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. I'm listening to it, and I can't believe what I'm hearing. It's absolutely insane. What these machines are able to do now is, and that's in a short period of time, people. That is like in the span of 3 years. I've listened to it like 3 years ago. It sucked. It was like listening to some cheap MIDI track, right? But now, holy crap, man! It's indistinguishable from the real thing. There's tiny little indicators that could tell you that it is AI. But it's barely noticeable, in my opinion. Of course you can. Napoleon complex. Right, so that's it, it definitely punches, definitely doesn't slap. Oh yeah, these songs are like freaking punchy, man. I played them in the intro, but we were only a few here. Here's Green Lies. The one earlier before that I just played was Burn the Feed. Oh, did we play Green Lies? Yes, I did. I played Green Lies. Here's the next one, guys. It's called God Don't Vote. Right? So I hope you guys enjoy these new creations of mine. Make sure to like, share, and comment, subscribe, and all that other stuff. 29 people watching right now. Hit the like button. And here's the next song. God Don't Vote.
In the beginning, I gave you law, not slogans, not spin. You built towers, not temples, war rooms, not wisdom. And still, you pray to me with blood on your hands. Thunder rumbles drop. Y'all built thrones on commandments you can't even quote. Preach peace on a budget that funds the next boat. Golden calves wear ties now, pockets bloated, and truth's just a token till the news feed's loaded. Sanctified missiles with a cross on the nose. Say God bless the troops while the body count grows. Prophets turn pundits selling fire and fear. I gave you the light and you shadowed it clear. This is what I wrote, this is what you chose. Signed the scroll, gave the code, now it's sold in shows. Said thou shalt not kill, y'all turn that to prose. Claim divine favor while you stepped on the throes. God don't vote, I just watch the polls. You praise my name, then sell your souls. You legislate hate, then baptize the bill. Quote me in courtrooms while you silence free will. Tax breaks for saints with offshore grace, but I saw that tithe and it came in place. Love thy neighbor lest they cross that line. Then it's walls and guns in the name of divine. You got pulpits and prophets confused again. Turn sermons to slogans, truth to trend. You know the laws now, act like it. It ain't complicated, just inconvenient. I wrote them in stone, not in loopholes. Don't worship me on Sundays, then vote for control. War. This is what you wrote, this is what I chose. You cast your ballots, I cast my blows. Don't ask for blessings in bloodstained clothes. When the mirror reflects what your empire sows. God don't vote, but I still see every lie wrapped in piety. Every lie wrapped in piety.
You're absolutely right, I1T. Left wing, right wing. It's the same bird. It's the same thing. They're just put in place to control you. That's how it is. So here's the next one. I hope you guys enjoy this. And after that, I'll be signing out for the rest of the afternoon. We will be back later on today. So be sure to stay tuned. We'll be back around 5, something like that. All right, so we'll be checking out another topic today. I wanted to cover 2 of them. So I believe 2 hours and 11 minutes is a good time for y'all. So here's one more song. And after that, we'll head on out of here. Wake up. It's war, guys.
Rise up, hear the call to battle, it's time to stand tall. No time for sleep, no room for fall. Every moment counts, don't stall. Gather your gear, sharpen your blade. The enemy's at the gate, we fight for our land, for our faith. Let's rise up, let's take the heat. The dawn breaks, the drums beat. The signal to retreat means die. We won't back down, we won't hide. We face the fire with pride. Yo, wake up, it's war. We ain't playing no games. Every step forward, every move we claim. This isn't a test, this isn't a game. We fight till the end, we won't let this slip away. The night is dark, the stars are few, but our hearts burn true. Through the storm, through the doom, we'll keep moving through. No more talk, no more lies, we're here to fight and thrive. Together we stand, together we strive, no matter what comes our way. Yo, I wake up, it's war, we ain't playing no games. Every step forward, every move we claim. This isn't a test, this isn't a game. We fight till the end, we won't let this slip away. Yo, wake up, it's war, we ain't playing no games. Every step forward, every move we claim. This isn't a test, this isn't a game. We fight till the end, we won't let this slip away.
Yeah, this ain't normal, this ain't from round here. This right here, out of this world, let's go! Yo, this ain't a stream, this a cosmic event. Every word hit hard, every frame leave dents. They talk views, we talk impact and intent. Whole feed on fire when the signal gets sent. This that loud, that pure, that uncut flame. All the shows act wild, but they all sound same. We break mics, bend time, shake whole lanes. While they chase clout, we engrave names. Yeah, we flying past clouds with the realest appeal. You watching greatness, this ain't no real. This that truth they scared to feel. This that out of this world, not your regular too rare. This broadcast burned through the solar glare. Out of this world, they can't compare. Whole net shook when the feed declare. If you ain't tuned in, better stay aware, cause we taking over everywhere. They ain't built for this pressure, this height, this zone. They throw stones, we drop comments through phones. You want real, you know where it's shown. Not earthborn, but we taking the throne. This for the ones who don't flinch at the truth, who vibe with the heat, not the flash or spoof. Every shot cut deep like a cosmic tooth. While they tweet fake beef, we ignite the booth. Ain't no blueprint for the way you rise. Ain't no cap in these satellite eyes. You feel that? That's the skies collide. Cause out of this world, don't apologize. Out of this world, whole scene disrupt. Every clip like a lift off, straight corrupt. No edits, no fluff, just full grown cuts. While they glitch in fear, we erupt. Out of this world, ain't no disguise. You can't fake light, that flood the skies. We bring truth while the weak improvise. This is legacy, recognize. A signal in the dark, too bright to ignore. This ain't broadcast, this is war. Not local, not known, beyond every zone, and still got the throne.